You think you know what an internet horror story looks like until you see the ones that never made it to the front page. Here on LurmoStories, we dig through buried threads, lost logs, and accidental deletions. Listen closely. Somewhere in this video is the part you'll wish you could unhear. Not sure if this fits here, but it's been sitting with me and I need to write it down somewhere anonymous. I went to the municipal intake center downtown to finalize a benefits application. Old federal-style building, limestone walls, flag out front that hadn't been replaced in years. Inside smelled like copier toner and floor cleaner. Everyone there knew the routine. Take a number, fill out forms, wait. The waiting room wasn't big, maybe 20 chairs, all bolted to the floor, arranged in straight rows. A digital board on the wall cycled numbers and desk assignments. No TV, no music, just the soft hum of the lights. What stood out immediately was the sign taped next to the intake window. Please observe assigned silence. Not remain quiet, not no talking. Assigned silence. I figured it was just bureaucratic phrasing. Government buildings love sounding strange by accident. A woman behind the glass slid my paperwork back and told me to sit until my number was called. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't lower it either. It sounded practiced, like she said the sentence the same way every time. I took seat C14. The chair had a small metal tag on the side with the number etched into it. That's when I noticed nobody was talking. At all. Not whispering, not phone typing, no coughing, no sighing. People shifted occasionally, but even that seemed controlled. Every movement felt delayed, like they were waiting for permission from something I couldn't see.
A man 2 seats over tried to answer his phone. It rang once. He looked at the screen, then at the sign, then turned the phone face down in his lap. He didn't look annoyed. He looked corrected. The board updated. A soft chime sounded. 3 people stood up at the same time, each from a different row, and walked to different desks without acknowledging each other. No eye contact. No hesitation. I checked my paperwork again just to do something. On the last page, beneath the signature line, was a section I hadn't noticed before. Waiting room compliance. Observed. Redirected. Both boxes were empty. I looked up to ask the clerk about it. She was already watching me. Her mouth didn't move, but she tapped the glass twice, slowly, and pointed at the sign. Assigned silence. I nodded without meaning to and sat back. My number hadn't been called yet. The lights buzzed overhead, just loud enough to remind me they were there. After a few minutes, someone across the room cleared their throat. It wasn't loud. It wasn't disruptive. Just a reflex. Every head turned toward him at once. Not fast, not aggressive, just synchronized. The digital board flickered. His number disappeared. 2 staff members came through a side door I hadn't noticed before. No uniforms, no badges visible. They stood on either side of his chair and waited. He looked up at them, confused, then embarrassed, like he'd broken a rule he should have known. One of them leaned down and spoke, quietly but clearly. Your silence was not assigned. They escorted him out through the side door. It closed without a sound. The board chimed again. My number moved up. The number beside my name flashed yellow instead of white. Desk 6. I stood up a second later than everyone else usually did. Nobody reacted, but I felt it register somewhere. The clerk at desk 6 didn't gesture me forward. She just waited until I sat, hands flat on the desk, paperwork centered exactly between us. She was younger than I expected, maybe late 20s, hair pulled back tight. Her eyes kept moving, not darting, just checking. Corners of the room, the board, the ceiling, then back to me. Before we continue, she said, quietly, I need to confirm your waiting room status. She flipped my file open and paused at the same page I'd noticed earlier. Did anyone redirect you? She asked. I shook my head. Did anyone explain assigned silence? No, I said. The word sounded louder than it should have. Her pen stopped mid-mark. She didn't look up. You weren't briefed, she said, not accusing, just stating it. That's unusual. She checked a box anyway. Observed. As she typed, I noticed a small speaker embedded in the underside of the desk, pointed directly at my knees. It wasn't playing anything. Still, it felt active, like a throat clearing without sound. Behind her, a door opened and closed. Not the side door, a different one, softer. Is this your first time applying? She asked.
Yes. She nodded, then lowered her voice even more. Then you should know, this building used to be a courthouse annex. Overflow processing, short hearings, temporary rulings. She slid a form toward me. It was new, no letterhead. At some point, she continued, they realized people behaved more honestly when they weren't allowed to rehearse their stories out loud. I glanced back toward the waiting room. Everyone was still seated, still silent. The chairs felt closer together than before. What happens if someone talks? I asked. She didn't answer right away. Instead, she reached under the desk and turned something off. The faint pressure I hadn't realized was there vanished instantly. Silence here isn't about noise, she said. It's about sequence. Who speaks, when, and how much. The board chimed again. A number skipped. Nobody stood. She leaned forward. Sometimes, she said, people arrive early. Sometimes they arrive late. But everyone eventually gets assigned. Assigned what? I asked. She looked at the waiting room, then back at me. A role, she said. Most don't notice. A low sound rolled through the room. Not a buzz, not a chime. More like a collective exhale that hadn't come from any person. On the board, new text appeared beneath the numbers. Silence adjustment in progress. The clerk closed my file. We'll finish this next, she said. Please return to your seat.
And don't improvise. As I stood, I realized no one else was breathing out of sync anymore. When I sat back down, my chair felt different. Same metal frame, same number, but the pressure of it was uneven, like it wanted me positioned a certain way. I adjusted once, nothing happened. Adjusted again. The room reacted, not visibly, not audibly, but the lights dimmed a fraction, then stabilized. Nobody looked at me. That was worse. The board finished updating. The yellow highlight around my number vanished. Desk 6 no longer existed. The desks were renumbered without anyone moving. A woman in the front row stood up. She hadn't been there before. I was certain of that. Her clothes were normal, office casual, but she moved like she'd practiced it. She walked to the intake window instead of a desk. The clerk behind the glass spoke for the first time since I arrived. "You're early," she said. The woman nodded. She didn't speak. "That's fine," the clerk continued. "We'll assign you provisional silence." She stamped something hard enough for us to hear it. The sound landed heavy in the room, like punctuation. The woman turned, scanned the chairs, and sat down directly beside me. I could smell her shampoo. Clean. Recent. She stared straight ahead. I whispered, without deciding to, "What is this place?" Her lips didn't move. Her answer came anyway, low and exact. "A filter." My chest tightened. The speaker under desk 6 wasn't there anymore, but I could feel the same pressure behind my ears now, like invisible hands aligning my thoughts. The side door opened. The man who'd been taken earlier was brought back in. Same clothes, same posture, but something was missing. Not emotion, not awareness. Timing. He sat in an empty chair and waited, too perfectly. The clerk from desk 6 stood in the aisle. "We're concluding intake," she announced. "Unassigned individuals will be processed accordingly." The woman next to me finally turned her head. "They'll keep you," she said, "if you stay quiet enough." "If I leave?" I asked. Her eyes flicked to the exits, all 3. "Then you'll keep the silence," she said, without the room to hold it. The board chimed one last time. My number vanished completely. No sound followed, no movement. The waiting room felt full in a way numbers couldn't explain. I stood up. Every chair creaked in response, once, together. No one stopped me. Outside, the flag snapped in the wind, loud and careless. Traffic roared. Someone laughed across the street. It took hours before I realized I hadn't spoken yet. When I finally tried, nothing came out. Just a pause, perfectly timed, like I was still waiting to be called. I was the third guy on a 2-truck move, hired day of to help unload furniture into a high-rise downtown. The building was one of those new concrete towers with a concierge desk, glass everywhere, and rules printed on laminated cards. Service entrance only, service elevator only, no exceptions. The super handed me a clipboard and a plastic badge with a barcode. He didn't look up when he explained the elevator. "Punch the unit number first," he said, then hit start. I asked what floor it was on. He finally looked at me, confused. "It'll take you there." The service elevator was narrower than expected, walls scratched up from years of moves. No buttons, just a keypad and a small green screen that said, "Enter destination code." The first load was for 17B. I typed 1702 like the apartment label said. The screen paused, then flashed, "Accepted." Doors closed, elevator moved. Normal enough. Second trip, same thing. Third trip,
same thing. The only weird part was the silence. No floor numbers lighting up, no ding, just motion. It stopped exactly where it needed to every time. On the fourth trip, I typed 1702 again. This time, the screen stayed blank longer. Then it changed to confirm occupant present. I assumed it was some security thing. I leaned forward and said, "Yeah?" like an idiot. Nothing happened. My radio crackled from the other guys asking where I was. The elevator started moving anyway. It stopped harder than before. Doors opened to a hallway that didn't match the rest of the building. Narrower, older carpet, yellowed light. No apartment numbers on the doors. I didn't step out. The screen updated behind me. Destination active. Wait for clearance. I hit the emergency button. It wasn't there. From the hallway, one of the doors opened. Not all the way, just enough to show a hand holding a folded, moving receipt. A voice said, calm and close. "You can leave that one here." The radio buzzed again, louder this time. Someone asking why the elevator was taking so long. I backed into the corner and mashed the keypad, typing 1702, 1702, 1702. The screen ignored it. The hand in the doorway didn't move. "I'm on a schedule," the voice said. "Male, middle-aged, flat, like reading policy. This unit is already marked inbound." I asked what unit this was. My voice sounded wrong in the car, like the walls were eating parts of it. The screen flickered and added a second line. Unit status, in transit. The hallway lights dimmed slightly, then came back brighter. I noticed something off about the doors now. They were all identical. Same scuffs, same cheap brass numbers, except every one of them read 1702. The hand withdrew. The door shut quietly. The elevator doors tried to close, stopped, then reopened. The screen flashed a prompt. Item count Mish. Adjust, load. I was holding a small dresser, nothing else. I said that out loud. The screen didn't care. From somewhere down the hall, another door opened. Then another. Soft clicks, one after another, like rooms checking in. My radio popped. This time, it wasn't my crew. It was a woman I didn't recognize, asking for confirmation on delivery. She read out my name, my temp ID number, and the barcode printed on my badge. She asked if I was ready to complete transfer. I said no. The elevator doors finally closed on their own. The car jolted downward, faster than before. My knees bent from the drop. No alarms, no lights, just motion. When it stopped, the screen read, returning asset. Doors opened to the service lobby like nothing happened. Normal paint, normal lights. The concierge was still at his desk. I stepped out and dropped the dresser. My hands were shaking enough that I didn't try to hide it. I asked him what floor 1702 was really on. He frowned and checked his tablet, scrolled for a while. "There is no 17B, he said. "Hasn't been for years." I showed him the badge. The barcode had smeared, like it had been dragged across something wet. He didn't touch it. He asked how many trips I'd taken. I told him 4. He nodded once and said, "Then you're done for today." The service elevator doors closed behind me before I could ask what that meant. I didn't argue. I walked out past the loading dock and sat on the curb until my ride showed up. I didn't tell the other guys why I bailed. I just said the building cut me loose. That night, my phone rang from a blocked number. A woman asked if I was calling to confirm delivery completion. She listed the dresser's dimensions, the scuff on the back left leg, the exact timestamp of my 4th trip. She said there was still a discrepancy. "One unit is unaccounted for," she said. "We show you entered with more than you exited." I told her she had the wrong person. She paused, then said, "That's not how the elevator logged it." I hung up. She called back twice, then stopped. The next morning, the moving company texted me asking why I'd scanned out early. Their system showed my badge is still active inside the building. Timestamp updating every few minutes. Always the same location tag. 1702, in transit. I went back to the tower that afternoon. Different concierge, same desk. I asked about the service elevator logs. He said tenants don't have access to that. Then he asked for my name. When I gave it, he checked the screen and went quiet. "You already moved out," he said, "yesterday." He turned the monitor slightly so I could see. There was a tenant record under my name. No photo, just a unit number and a status. 1702, occupied. I asked who approved that. He said approvals are automatic once delivery completes. I left before he could ask for ID. That night, my badge was on my kitchen table when I got home. I'm sure I didn't bring it back. The barcode was clean again, new, reprinted. On the back, where there hadn't been anything before, was a small line of text. Destination confirmed. Do not re-enter. I quit temp work after that. New job, new routes. I avoid high-rises when I can. Sometimes, when I'm riding an elevator in an older building, I notice a keypad where the button should be. Covered up, disabled, like it's been there longer than the rest. I don't touch it. I already know it remembers how many trips I took. Started a warehouse job outside Columbus. Regional depot, forklifts everywhere. Concrete floors polished smooth from decades of pallets grinding over them. First day was paperwork and orientation. 8 of us sat in a windowless training room with a flickering TV bolted to a steel cart. The trainer, Rick, tossed a box of donuts on the table and said we'd be watching the standard safety video before anyone touched a machine. Lights went down. Video started like every corporate tape ever made. Soft music, a narrator with a calm, tired voice talking about load limits and blind spots. Actors wearing spotless vests pretending to work. Nobody paid much attention. About 10 minutes in, the video cut to a reenactment. A forklift backing up too fast. Freeze frame. The narrator said, "This is what happens when the operator becomes complacent." Then he added, clearly, "Pay attention, Evan." My name. No emphasis, no joke tone, just slid into the sentence like it belonged there. I looked around, expecting someone to laugh. Nobody did. A couple people kept chewing. One guy was scrolling his phone under the table. Rick was filling out a form, not even watching. I told myself it was coincidence. Common name, probably recorded with multiple audio tracks, right? But the next line was worse. Evan didn't check his rear clearance, the narrator said. Evan assumed the aisle was clear. On screen, the forklift clipped a rack. Boxes fell. The actor playing the operator had his face blurred, but the build was close enough to bother me. Same height, same haircut I'd gotten the week before. I raised my hand. Rick sighed like I was already a problem. "That video just said my name," I told him. Rick didn't even look up. "Yeah, it personalizes it, keeps people engaged." "How does it know my name?" "It doesn't," he said. "You hear what you want to hear." The video kept going. Evan ignored the posted speed, the narrator continued. Evan thought one shortcut wouldn't matter. The camera zoomed in on a laminated rule sheet taped to a forklift column. The text was small, but I recognized the coffee stain in the corner. It matched the one on the real sign by the charging station outside. I stood up. The chair legs screeched. A few people finally looked at me. On the screen, the narrator said, quieter now, "Evan learns the consequences during his second week." The video cut to black. The TV didn't shut off. It just sat there, humming, blue glow filling the room. Rick stared at the screen longer than usual before turning the lights back on. Orientation moved on like nothing happened. During the break, I checked the sign by the charging station. No coffee stain. Second day was hands-on training. Same group, same room, except now everyone was louder. Forklift keys clinking, vests half-zipped. Rick paired us off and sent us to different sections of the depot. My trainer was a guy named Luis, who'd been there 6 years and looked permanently tired. We climbed into a sit-down lift near aisle C. As he went over the controls, I asked him about the safety video. "The one from yesterday?" he said. "Yeah, old thing." "Does it ever change?" Luis frowned. "Change how?" "Mention people by name." He laughed once, sharp. "No, that tape's older than me." We rolled forward. The forks hummed. Tires echoed off concrete. As we turned into the aisle, I noticed a laminated rule sheet taped to the column ahead. Coffee stain in the corner. Same shape as the one from the video. I slowed us down. Luis noticed my foot easing off the pedal. "You good?" he asked. "That sign," I said. "Has that always been there?" Luis squinted. "Yeah, why?" Up close, the stain was real. Dried, brown, soaked into the plastic. I didn't touch it. Training went fine. No accidents, no close calls. By lunch, I'd convinced myself the video thing was stress, new job nerves. Until the break room TV came on. Someone had left it tuned to an internal channel. No sound at first, just footage of warehouse aisles, empty, shot from high angles like security cameras. Then subtitles appeared. Reminder, operator awareness prevents incidents. Rick walked by and muted it completely. "That channel glitches," he said. "Ignore it." But I kept watching. The camera angle shifted. Aisle C. Same lift Luis and I had used that morning. Timestamp in the corner showed tomorrow's date. Text appeared again. "Evan will attempt solo operation." I asked Rick what that was about. He looked at the screen, then at me. His face tightened for half a second before going neutral again. "You sure you want to stay in this role?" he asked. That night, I checked my training packet. Standard stuff: schedule, emergency procedures, a printed acknowledgement form with my name typed at the top. Under the signature line, someone had added a note in pen. "Second week incident review pending." I didn't sleep much, but not because of fear, more like waiting for something scheduled. On day 7, Rick pulled me aside before my shift. "Insurance requires a refresher," he said. "Quick video, just you." Same room, same TV, lights off. The video started mid-sentence. "Evan believes he's learned enough," the narrator said. "That confidence creates risk." The footage showed aisle C again, a different angle now. Forklift moving too fast. Operator's hands visible. They were mine. Same scar on the knuckle. The narrator continued. "At this point, intervention is no longer possible." The door behind me clicked shut. On screen, the forklift struck a rack. Pallets tipped. The camera shook violently, then fell sideways. The last subtitle appeared: "Training complete." I didn't go to work the next day. Rick didn't call, HR didn't email. My employee portal login stopped working before noon. It was like the job erased itself around me. 2 weeks passed. I started applying elsewhere.
Tried to convince myself it had been some elaborate corporate scare tactic that went too far. OSHA theater, psychological conditioning, whatever explanation fit. Then a letter arrived. No return address. Inside was a USB drive taped to a single printed page. Incident footage. Evan M. Aisle C. I didn't plug it in right away. I waited until night, lights off except for the monitor. When the video loaded, it wasn't grainy or stylized, just clean security footage. The forklift was real. The aisle was real. The timestamp was 3 days in the future. The operator entered frame, moving alone. No trainer, no spotter. He drove exactly how I'd been taught. Slow turns, forks low, perfect form. Then he paused, looked straight up at the camera. The angle caught his face clearly. Mine. The video skipped ahead 10 seconds. A pallet jack rolled loose from a side aisle. No one was pushing it. It drifted just enough to clip the forklift's rear tire. Loss of balance, rack collapse, metal screaming, dust everywhere. The camera shook but didn't fall this time. The operator didn't get crushed. He tried to climb out. The forklift shifted again. Video ended. At the bottom corner, white text appeared. Cause: operator deviation from training path. I sat there staring at my reflection in the black screen. The next morning, my phone rang from an unknown number. I let it go to voicemail. Rick's voice. "Evan, hey, just checking in. There was an incident at the depot." Insurance flagged a similarity issue. You're not involved, legally, but we need you to confirm you won't be returning. He paused, then added, quieter. "They're updating the video." I never replied. I threw the USB into a river that afternoon. Last week, I started a new job. Different state, different industry, office building. First day orientation. The lights dimmed. The presenter smiled and said, "This won't take long." The video began. Same narrator voice. "Pay attention," he said. He didn't say my name this time. Not yet. This was LurmoStories, and if your room feels smaller now, that's just the stories settling in. Try to sleep, and hope none of what you heard tonight ever shows up in your own chat logs.